You betcha, 100%, man. Anytime. So we got live here going. So, and we got also on Clubhouse. So if you're joining us on Clubhouse, if you want to actually join the live and join the YouTube, text the word join to 402-347-9770. So this is going to be kind of an unconventional, you could say, episode of Be Growth Driven. And the very reason why is because we want to talk about an important topic here of podcasting. And by no means am I like the top one. There's a lot of folks out there, you know, that have thousands, millions of followers. They've been doing it way longer than I have. The one area that I can share is how we started what we're doing here, and really kind of cover some of the main things that a lot of people think about, talk about, as far as like, what do they say? What do they want to talk about? You know, they get that stage fright where they just freeze and they don't even get started. And what I want to do this episode on is really just to get started. So we actually have a guest that's, look at that. So if we're a little laggy, by the way, we're on Wi-Fi. We're actually here down in Florida. You can see the palm trees. It is definitely not Nebraska behind us. If you want to see what Nebraska is, just open the Weather Channel. And they got like 14 inches of snow. So I have Jessie in our studio nodding. I can see her nodding because she's been sending me pictures and sad faces as we sent her beach pictures, you know, for where we were at. So if you want to join the live on YouTube, text the word join to 402-347-9770, 402-347-9770. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're going to get started here as soon as we have Mr. David Bange join us. But
I'm downloading Chrome right now.
Okay, that works, man. That works. So if on Clubhouse, any well, I guess then we have a bunch of people that want to start a podcast right now. So let me go ahead. If you do me a big favor on Clubhouse, if you do me a solid favor, hit the plus button and let's invite some people in here. I'm going to actually go see if we can get Mr. Ken Walls in here too.
I pinged him already.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, he's going to get like multiple pings now. I'm going to text him as well. And
if I ping people right.
Is it bad? Okay, it's bad lag, Jessie says.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully this will get a little bit better. A little bit better.
You right, guys?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. I'm gonna see if I can transition here real quick to my phone as a hotspot real quick. Let's see if that works since we got some 5G going on. All right, we should be back. Hopefully that's much more stable. Jessie, let me know in a moment or two if this is much more stable on your side. Yes. Yes, big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Oh, awesome. 2 thumbs up. I got 2 thumbs up from the studio.
Excellent. All right.
So I'm going to break it down actually and just kind of give you the way that we decided to start our podcast. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Joel Buhr. I'm president of a company called First Direct. We're a data and marketing company. And hey, Selene, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on. We're a data and marketing company. And so, you know, I had an idea like a long time ago, how do I explain like what I do in relation to business? And it really comes down to the services we provide businesses, all about growth. And so we had acquired a domain called Be Growth Driven because I was trying to think of a way to broaden the audience. And I let that whole idea rest. And so for those of you that are retuning into our YouTube Live and our Facebook Live, what we're talking about is the Fear Podcast. And I'm kind of really basically showing you how we started this one. Maybe this would be kind of like a record. And with us behind us here, we have, of course, Audrey. And we have Kathy here, good friends here within the 10X community. Of course, this one is a really good friend of mine.
Very good.
A very good friend of mine. And there we go. We got David Bange jumping in here too.
Awesome.
David Bange Roofing. We're going to change that out. There we go.
There we go.
So how we started our podcast was just simply we picked an overall general direction of how we wanted to talk about things. And it was really kind of about growth in business, because maybe there's somebody that we bring onto our podcast where they have one nugget, one piece of information that's going to be helpful to somebody. That was the simple intent. We're like, okay, let's just simply give back to everybody that is looking for a good, solid piece of information. Let's go find the people that can actually legitimately talk about those pieces of information. So that's why we grab people like Russ Yeager. That guy's a pitch king, you could say. Very successful in his business and everything that he does. So he can definitely talk about, things like how he pitched, how he overcame, or dealt with business during a pandemic. Go ahead.
And he talked about his past. We had no clue. He had a previous business, previous life. Everything changed. And he's pivoted numerous times and knew what to do. So I appreciated learning that. I wouldn't know that from seeing him pitch. I knew it from our podcast.
Right. So, well, you get to hear like real things, right? So
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I would say is if you structure your podcast like so scripted with questions and, hey, we're going to ask this question, then we're going to ask this question, then we're going to ask this question, it really doesn't give you an opportunity to provide some good organic content, which is, in my belief, what's going to over time accumulate the listeners. Now, the thing you'll notice too, as you start your podcast, you may start with just a few listeners, a few watchers. But what happens is a lot of people that maybe weren't able to hit it because of scheduling, weren't able to attend, they always will catch the replays. They'll catch and fast forward to find the nuggets that are going to help them. And if your goal is to help people, then you're finding some fulfillment there. So we have David Bange here joining us. And so since you're on, I'm moving my Clubhouse phone here.
So you jump on Clubhouse too, or no?
That is totally up to David if he wants to jump on Clubhouse as well.
Yeah, I could jump on Clubhouse as well, but what would I do with the audio so it doesn't repeat on your end?
We just mute it. Or I can actually just, I have my phone close enough where it's actually picking up the audio from my computer if you want to.
Let's see.
So.
You were baptized by fire into podcasting today, David.
Yeah, so it's still doing the audio. So.
Or just mute you and we'll pick it up off the computer.
It's not going to work just yet, though.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah, on my end, it's not working. We're learning.
That's so with the adding of Clubhouse, what we added, just simply where if we're going to do a podcast, we'll let the audio there. And yes, it's probably rough. I need to figure out a way to where we can actually just get the connections all set up correctly from the computer. How we started Be Growth Driven and our intent of Be Growth Driven. And so our intent is to interview, for example, business owners. Like we got David Bange right now. So if you're watching here and you want to catch, by the way, Robert, Mike, Jackie, and of course Jesse, you're always there. Thank you for jumping on. Do me a big favor, hit the plus button on Clubhouse and invite those top 2 rows. Get the people in here. And if you want to join the actual live, text the word join to 402-347-9770. And you can actually join our YouTube Live, ask questions. We're going to take questions for anybody that would like to ask questions. And David will answer any question you want to from YouTube.
I don't know about any.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I'll try. I'll make a valid effort, I guess.
Right. So we use a product called StreamYard as well, okay? So, and Jesse, I'm going to pull you up on top here so that way you can help moderate. Vale, thank you for jumping on. I'm just going to...
Is that go bothering you or no?
We're going to go ahead and mute her. So this is a little bit more of a thrown together podcast than what we would normally do. Normally we have maybe 2 days to get prepared on final details, but this was all last minute. We use a product called StreamYard. So if you're going to do a podcast, use something like StreamYard. The reason why we do that versus just simply doing a Facebook Live for the podcast is it allows us to stream out to multiple different destinations. And so like David, on your side, I don't know if you can see it, but at the very top, we're streaming to Facebook, to 2 pages on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
We're streaming to 2 pages on YouTube. We're streaming to Periscope, and we're streaming to Twitch. The intent there with the podcast, and we have the description in there. So we have descriptions, we may have hashtags, we may have whatever we're talking about included in the information. Particularly on YouTube, it starts to create some organic reach because of keywords. And so the name of your podcast, the description that you include on it, maybe the link that you include even in the podcast, especially when you're streaming out to like YouTube, is going to give you like that, maybe that organic broader reach where somebody was watching something else similar and they get recommended. We've had people jump on from YouTube because YouTube recommended that they also watch this live. Simple as that. But let's do this. Let's get started. David, hey, tell us about yourself. Tell us, number one, who you are, what you do, how you got started, and what's next.
Yeah, so I started a roofing company 4 years ago. I've been a roofer my whole life, family business. I'm down here in South Florida, 34 years old. That's pretty much it. I guess since I was born, I've been a roofer, so it's kind of my destiny.
Right, but I mean, you're making moves. There's a lot bigger things that you're building, and obviously within the roofing construction industry, there's huge opportunities from a business standpoint. Right.
What happened?
Yeah. Oh, hey, Rudolph, we're still live. Can you hear everything? Oh, I got muted.
You muted yourself.
I got muted on Clubhouse. There we go. Sorry about that, Rudolph. I'm unmuted. Okay, we're good to go. So, I mean, where have you seen? So, like, kind of like on a podcast, we just might simply say, hey, let's ask David from a business standpoint. Where have you seen the biggest struggles this last year?
I mean, I guess in the roofing industry, it hasn't been as bad just because it's essential business, and people are getting money from the government, and spending more time at home, so they're actually doing more home improvement stuff than they would normally, because some people now can afford it, have the disposable income to afford it with the money that they're being given, as well as people are spending time at home. So things like roofs and pools and stuff like that have actually spiked during COVID.
Awesome. So, I mean, so that tells you actually too. So like if we were talking to individuals, what he just shared about his business, it might have shared some pieces of information with somebody that was looking to start a business of, hey, listen, I'm really good at this, but I'm really good at this. What direction maybe they might want to go. They now have a good piece of information saying, you know what, maybe roofing or some other related construction field is going to be much more resilient to future economic pressure. That's the direction I'm going to commit to. So, we're kind of mishmashing this, David, right? Into, hey, how do I run my podcast? It's not how you have to. It's just how I run my podcast. I want to learn about your business, but of course, our theme today is podcasts.
Yeah.
Right. So when studio, you could say this virtual studio, does this make it a little bit easier? You probably see the comment section, you see the private chat section where we can actually chat with one another, right?
Yeah. It makes it pretty
these are cool things, and this is hard for those that are on Clubhouse to see, but the other cool thing about a product like StreamYard, and we didn't shoot this off at the beginning, but you can load in various branding material. So we can load in that material there. We can say, hey, we got special guests right there. We have a little screen brand that we can do a split screen. So we can do the other branding right there. But the other cool part here too, when you're doing your podcasting, something like a product like StreamYard is going to make it very, very easy because you can load in your banners. Like if you wanted to ticker a number across the bottom right there to stay connected. And again, this is really hard to describe for those that are just watching on Clubhouse or listening on Clubhouse.
Well, if it's streaming on Facebook, they can always watch it later on, couldn't they?
Exactly, 100%, 100%. So if you see there too, David, I have Jessie. She's not in our stream. I won't throw her in there. I'll be nice and I won't just throw her in right away. But what I have her doing in the background here, though, is if we were interviewing somebody, I have an assistant that's basically in the studio with me. And I could do it myself, but it makes it much easier if you do have somebody that can help you. And what she'll do is, I'm like, hey, that's an interesting quote, David. That's fantastic to know. And so right away, she's going to take that as my cue of, hey, let's throw that as a quote, and stream that across the bottom real quick.
Yeah.
Right. And so right away, what we're doing is we're kind of creating content on the fly. And we're the MC Jessie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, she put that out there.
Yeah. The other cool thing with the branding, and this is where I would also say too, that if you're going to make a consistent podcast, think about your branding. So if you can go buy a URL and you can build that out, you can create a simple WordPress site to try to help promote what the future guests are, what the past guests were. And where individuals visiting the site can go find a link maybe on YouTube to go watch that video, or maybe try to embed it in the actual site, is what I would say. Now there's a lot of pieces to that. So if you are doing this with yourself to start with, as you kind of build things out, you're obviously going to have to maybe try to say, okay, what can I handle all at once so you don't get the burnout and you stop doing your podcast? You want to maybe pick real simply, maybe like for Rudolph, for you're listening on Clubhouse. Maybe it's something where you just simply say, I'm going to talk about this topic and I'm going to interview this person. That's it. I just want to learn. And there's 3 questions you ask each time. Hey, tell us about you. What do you do? What is your advice for businesses today in this sector? Right. And right away from there, let the conversation just simply grow organically. So, like for David, for you, I mean, tell us more about you. Tell us more about, like, where is Bange Roofing going? David Bange Roofing Company.
Yeah. So the goal for us is actually to save homeowners from bad contractors, actually across the entire state of Florida. There's actually like an epidemic almost of contractors that come into our market. When hurricanes or something like that happens, there's a percentage of people that take deposits and then go out of business, or they leave and go back to the state that they came from, and they're leasing a license. And it's my fault because I haven't expanded to a point in time where if a storm does hit an area, I have enough troops across the state to come in and help everybody. Is really the goal of what we're trying to accomplish here. Have offices across the entire state, be a local roofer across the entire state. But also, if there's an issue that happens like a hurricane and, it's a state of emergency, we can actually help people, and they don't have to use non-local roofers, because normally the local roofers can't handle the volume. So we want to be, a storm catcher per se.
And this happens in Nebraska. Sorry, David. This happens in Nebraska with the tornadoes. And we have a friend, very good general contractor, specializes in roofing. And he basically does cleanup after those guys come in. Do the roof. That's and be their next local contractor they look to, because he cleans up after them. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So I mean, and
it's a big problem in the industry. It really is, because the people need to get their work done, and there's not enough. We're not locally able to handle the volume. Or we wouldn't be able to have the staffing to be able to do it. But if things slowed down in another area, or it was a little bit more important to converge to other areas, we can take a percentage of our troops to that area to save people a lot of heartache and be able to do it a lot quicker.
That's an awesome goal. That's needed.
Well, and what I would say, you're doing this in the roofing side, but I think that you're really kind of highlighting something that should be the objective of any business, any industry. Like for our friend Rudolph, who's on Clubhouse, we know he does phenomenal work on shipping, or else he would not have grown to the scale that he's at, right? And so his goal, I would imagine, I'm just going to, and Rudolph, you can chime in off Clubhouse, but his goal would be, hey, I want to save you from that shipper that's going to do you wrong. Our company does it right. We're dependable. We're there. I heard him the other day as he was on Clubhouse, and I think it was, she's not there anymore, but she has the fuzzle tube, I think it was.
Solana, yeah.
Solana, okay. And right away, he's like updating her on, on the status. Here you have the president of the company, a big company like his, updating a client, a smaller client in that respect on the status of where their thing is at, because one of his employees had a loss or a family thing that had come up. So that care for the customer, it needs to be there. We see that as a fading element in business, I think.
That's the core of business. That's what everybody misses. Everybody tries to make what's easy for them. And, I even have to internally think about those type of things and actually building different journeys, based on where the public is going. There's this, not as many people want you to go to their home anymore. So how do I create a customer journey for that to make it convenient for the homeowner instead of what's convenient for me? What's convenient for me is to be at somebody's home, in somebody's home. That's what's convenient for me, but that's not always what is important or convenient for the customer. And everybody kind of loses sight of, who's paying for the product, the customer. Right. We have to be customer driven,
right?
Growth driven.
Right. Yeah. No, and I like the word that you said, the customer journey. So you got to figure out, hey, what journey do you want that customer to go on?
Yeah.
Right? What's the right journey that they should be going on? Alan, hey, thank you for jumping on Clubhouse. If you'd like to join our live discussion on YouTube, text the word JOIN, JOIN, to 402-347-9770, 402-347-9770. So as we're talking about business, this is solid, and I'm going to dip back into our overall theme, which is the fear of podcasting and maybe how to do podcasting there too. So for those that are listening, how we're doing this right there, we have a Twilio number set up, and we have an automation sequence set up where we've actually plugged in that if someone texts the word join to that number, we automatically text them the link that they can join us on the YouTube. So hey, Alan, if you don't mind, can you try that and tell us how it works? Text the word join, or Robert or Mike or Jackie, text the word join to 402-347-9770. Give us an example of how that works. That jump on the thing. There you go. I see it coming in there. Look at that. So actually, and hey, Jesse, can you go ahead and get them the invite link, and they can share if they want to jump on. And if you're on an iPhone, you're on a mobile device, you can actually jump on our live. You'll have to download Chrome, though. You will have to download Chrome even on your mobile device.
This is how transparent we are, though. There's no secrets.
So we're talking about business, too, but we're also, of course, our theme is podcasting. So there's a few different pieces, obviously, that as you go more and more often into the podcasting, that you're gonna want to automate some of those things. So we use a SaaS product in the background where we're hosting some elements even of our website, but we're hosting the automation to streamline it. Now, of course, what that also does is allows us to let you know later when there's additional episodes coming up. So if you've texted the word join and you've gotten the link, you should be able to join that YouTube and actually post a comment, ask a question. The other things I guess that I would highlight too real quick is as you're doing a podcast, be as cognizant of as possible about various things. Like David, we were talking about on Clubhouse, when you listen to people, what are some things that really, like for you as a listener, annoy the living daylights out of you?
Share.
I don't like when people poach a market like 10X. That's what I don't like. Try to take advantage of people in a community and use somebody's likeness to, for their own benefit and not for the benefit of the listener. I think it goes back to that. I mean, everything should be customer driven.
Right. Right.
That's what I like about 10X. It's customer driven based.
Right.
Well, so selfish mentality.
Okay, so there you go. So applying this to our podcast, the content of your podcast needs to be customer driven. It needs to be informative. It needs to be, factual. It needs to be ethical.
Yes.
Right. You need to be speaking truth. You cannot make big claims and sit there and say, if I was to say, hey, me and Grant were like this, David's like, you're a liar. Because we're not, right? We're not. Grant probably knows, what my name is. He probably knows that. His guys.
That's all you are.
His guys know who I am. But for me to say, hey, me and Grant, we're doing some big deals together, that would be a lie, right?
Anybody can put anything in their profile. That's part of the issue with Clubhouse. Nothing is verified. Nothing you say, nothing you write is verified. So there's a. Hopefully they fix that. Hopefully they create some type of certification, and certain people get to own, some of their own information, some of their own, things that they've spent a lot of money building a brand. I think there's a hole there that needs to be fixed to where people have the ability to protect their brand without somebody poaching it and just writing whatever they want in a profile and claim whatever they want when they're talking. I mean, you don't even know who's on the other side of who's talking. It can be anybody.
Yeah.
You can make a profile and say they're David Bange.
Right, exactly. So going back to like customer, the customer journey, it needs to be customer driven. If you're providing the content, that practical value has to be made clear to your audience as well. You have to understand, hey, how that subject's going to actually affect their lives, and then hopefully then give them also the information where they can actually apply that. You can actually show them what to do with what they're learning. Does that make sense, right? So if you give them that information where they can make that practical value and apply it. So there's a few ways to do it. So there's 2 points I want to bring out here. I'm going to highlight this. Number one is think about your listeners. Think about your audience, who you're talking to. Why your listeners need to hear the information you're sharing. Right? So we're talking about podcasting. Why do our listeners need to hear the information we're sharing? That's
pretty cool.
Right?
Actually typed in, think about your listeners. That's pretty cool. Yeah. If nobody caught that, that's pretty neat.
So the second point, I'm gonna share a second point. So this is we're applying this information about what you're talking about, like ethical business, a podcast.
What you just put up there.
I do what I can.
I feel like it's when Pam was messing with Dwight in Office. I don't know if you ever watched that show, The Office. Like the computer system was taken over, like they had their own.
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
That reminded me of.
So for those of you listening on Clubhouse, I don't know if David can see Jessie kind of hidden in the bottom or not. Can you see her kind of backstage at all?
I can't see her. All I see is boom. I see the little thing pop up.
Okay. All right. So only I see it because I'm the host of the host account. But if you saw what I see, and maybe we'll have to do a screenshot sometime to show it.
I can go live and show this right now. No.
Want me to go live?
No.
So
I can go live on Facebook if you want. Make it a little bit easier.
Jessie, can I throw you up real quick? Okay, all right. So see, I can add Jessie real quick to the stream. Say hi, Jessie. Unmute you. Oh wait, her mic. Let's see if her mic works good. Okay, her mic is no good.
She always gets very sad when it doesn't work.
It makes it tough. But she's getting a new mic, yes?
And
yes.
All
right. She's getting all set up. So as we're talking about, this is kind of probably one of the most interesting B growth driven episodes we've done.
Go sideways? Is that better on Facebook? That's a good question.
You know what? It depends, really. On Facebook, either way.
Well, I'm going to go sideways now that you're the person I trust.
Sideways. Whenever I do a live, I like to try to do sideways. Sometimes if I'm doing Instagram, I do up and down because really that's the only thing that's going to matter there.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to lay on, as David gets that going, I'm going to lay on like kind of like a second tip of this as we're talking about practical value made clear, okay, to your listeners, because that's going to be the important part, right? If you're going to do a podcast, you want to have some practical value information made clear. And throughout your presentation, what you want to do is show your listeners what to do. Simple as that. Look at that. We got Richard. We got some comments coming on Twitch. Look at that right away. That's awesome. Hey Richard. Hey Richard. Hey Richard. Oh, that's all Jesse. Okay, we said hello back, didn't we? Is that what we did? Okay, that's what we did. So how do you do this? See, the listener, your listener themselves should actually realize that this involves them. So as you develop like your main points, and again, you may not have your main points all laid out right away, but as we go, like David talked about his business and what was the mission behind his business, which, by the way, David, we need to just do a separate episode just to talk about roofing and your company, because I think there's a lot of value there that we want to dive deeper into.
I'm going to take a picture of what the screen looks like and post it instead of going live because the feedback.
I'm live right now on Facebook if you want to go look.
There we
go.
go.
Yeah, I'm going to see what you see.
There you can see what I see.
There we go. So here's some other details. So as you develop each of those main points, show how to apply it. So what we're doing on this episode, because we're talking about fear podcasting, we're sharing the little tidbits of how to actually do it. So hopefully that's of value to everyone.
I don't want to divert or take over, but we were talking about the fear of it. So part of the thing is, how do I do a podcast with the fear of it? And we do a live Zoom once a week, and we've been doing lives on StreamYard, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. It makes you sweat, makes you a bit nervous. You got to have your topic in mind and make it quick and short. But I would love to hear feedback on that fear holding people back from doing it. Because it's like, where do I start? You shared a lot.
Right.
But David, do you even post videos on your own, like of your family or your kids? Do you even do videos at all, like lives?
No, I don't really do any. This is probably the first live video I've ever done.
Woo!
See, look at that. First times.
Not even that big of a deal. I think that's the big thing, after listening to Natalie, talking about her experience on how, she was bawling down, crying the day before she was presenting in front of Grant and Elena. And then, to see her now, how good she is, it's crazy. And then, I'm doing this right now. It's really not that big of a deal. You normally make things a bigger deal in your mind than they actually are. So, the Cardone Ventures team made me write down what I needed to do to accomplish this. So I will be doing a podcast every week. And, that's just part of my goals.
There you go. Fantastic. Let me ask you this. So that moment of like anxiety, that fear, right? What do you think is like the number one thing that would help remove that?
There's only one thing. It's just to do it.
Time.
I mean, you got to write it down. You got to tell people, by me just saying I'm going to do once a week. If I don't do that, then I'm a liar. And that fear of being that is unethical, and it's going to force me and pull me into doing this once a week.
Right.
It's kind of like when you announce to the world, I'm going to lose 50 pounds.
It's that accountability.
You got to announce it.
Right. So like, and that's what you're saying there is spot on. I mean, if you don't put that out there to the world, right? Especially if you're a business. So like we have, folks jumping on our clubhouse now, Kathleen, Gloria. If you guys want to jump into our live conversation on YouTube, text the word join to 402-347-9770, 402-347-9770. But when you put that out there, you say, hey, we're going to do this. I mean, you almost just need to go like paste it on your Facebook, paste it on your Instagram, make a web page and say, we're doing this every week at this time.
Yeah.
And the reality is things do fall apart once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing you can control about it.
It's real when it happens, I'm sure. I bet it's better content. I mean,
actually, I take that back. That is an incorrect statement. I apologize. I take full responsibility for that incorrect statement. There is something you can do about it.
Can people see? Okay, people can't see. I don't think the whole sentence. There we go.
Yeah, you have to do it. So what you have to do, there is something you can do about it, is you take time out of the equation and you just simply do it. Right? We had, for example, Greg. Hey, Greg, thanks for jumping on. Greg, I would love for you to join our live conversation on YouTube if you can, because I know you can add some value. Text the word join to 402-347-9770. 402-347-9770. We got this going live on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. But if you take that time out of the equation, doesn't that basically remove the time that you can make excuses?
Yeah. I mean, I told you I need to do one a week. You called me out yesterday and said, okay, let's do it tomorrow morning. And, it made it real. I wouldn't have done it unless I had somebody to hold me accountable in all reality. You can't trust yourself. You got to tell people and have them hold you accountable because
right.
Your mind knows all your weaknesses. It knows how to get you to not show up to the gym in the morning. But when you tell somebody and they're at the gym and then they're wondering where you're at, that's the thing that'll pull you there because you can figure out excuses on how you don't feel good this morning. Oh, my ankle hurts when I get up, and it knows how to manipulate you better than anybody else in the world. So
right.
You got to use other people to pull you forward.
There you go. So now I'm going to throw out a tip here real quick, and you guys, if you have any suggestions here too. I mean, if you're looking for content for your podcast, if you're in business, you have at least 5 people that you value their input, their thoughts, and they value you. Interview them. Right? Just call them up. Hey, I want to interview you. I want you to talk about your business. You got a phenomenal business. Tell me about it. That's it. Right away. I mean, because wouldn't that give you like the content, like Action Financial Coaching? Yes, she added herself to it. We're going to mute her. I think she's fixing her technical difficulties here.
Hey, so Joel, is there a way for me to also go on Instagram? Is there a way to do Facebook and Instagram at the same time?
Live.
So off of StreamYard, no, unfortunately not yet. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe there's
even on my setup here.
Well, we could do that. We could actually do an Instagram live. I need to get a second phone.
You know what? I'm gonna go Instagram live on my other phone. That's what I'll do.
So
Can you split the screen? I don't think so.
I don't know if we can. That's actually an excellent question. I would love to find a solution that might let us actually do that.
Yeah, I don't have another tripod for it, but
I'm gonna have to get
another tripod and another phone, Joel. Oh my God. David, thank you for the ideas.
See, look at that. I'm getting ideas.
3 phones.
There we go.
Oh, goodness. Now, do you think being a guest on a podcast first helps you tiptoe into this?
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, especially, I mean, I feel like that's something that Grant does as well. Oh, you know what? You said Instagram needs to be vertical, right? There we go.
Yeah, either way, yeah. There we go. So let me see here.
So one of the things that I noticed like Grant does is people that aren't speakers. Is it working? People that aren't speakers, he gets on stage, sits in a seat with them, and asks them questions. So they're not needing to create their own content. They're just having a conversation like this. I didn't have to prepare for this interview because I'm not standing on a stage by myself, practicing and rehearsing and where am I going to walk to? How am I going to move my hands? I'm just naturally doing it based on, Joel's question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then Audrey jumping in and blurting something out when she should.
Oh, and get a good light. That's definitely.
There we go. And if Kathy would, keep quiet.
Oh, she's our silent guest.
So,
Yes.
No, but that I mean, so obviously now some things that you can see actually if you're watching on Instagram Live right now, if you see David's setup, he's got a microphone going on, he's got a light going on. We're a little bit different on our setup
Blue
right
Yeti,
now.
by the way, it's a lot easier.
There you go, Blue Yeti.
That plugs. I got this from everybody. Check out About Buck on Instagram. Buck Weiss taught me this trick. But it plugs directly into your computer, and it has the arm set up and everything. It's very inexpensive.
Right.
You can get one that sits on the desk. I like the one with the arm. Everybody thinks when they walk in my office, what does this guy got going on? What do you do, podcasts? And I'm like, no, I don't do podcasts. I just do a lot of Zoom meetings. But now I can say I do a podcast. I can say yes.
So what I'll do too, Jesse, put a note on the list is when I get back, I'll document on begrowthdriven.com on this episode. So if you guys want to catch it, it'll be up Friday. Or actually, it'll be up by the end of today. I'm gonna get it up by the end of today. I'm gonna get you the list, and so I'll highlight, like, for example, the stuff that I use. So when I'm usually doing my Be Growth Driven episode from the office, I have a set of lights that I use that are around me. I have one that's kind of above me where you can't see it, and I've changed those lights over time. So instead of like getting the ring lights, I've gotten the nice diffuser lights as well. And
the boxes with like the cloth.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
His office is crazy right now.
And they're not horribly expensive. I use a Behringer mic, okay, and it actually does really good job. I use a little 2-channel mixer. I'm only using 1 channel, but it gives me the option then later. Hey, Ross, thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. If you want to join our live conversation, by the way, Ross, just text the word join to 402-347-9770, 402-347-9770. And Richard Beauchard is asking, so are you guys live on Clubhouse right now? Yes, we are. We're live on Clubhouse. We're like going podcast
There's
nuts here.
devices everywhere.
Oh, wow. So even the little comments from Facebook pop up.
Yep.
Bottom. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So I can show those. So it's Mike W. Okay. So there we go. So what I want to show you guys, there's a reason why I had Mike here text the word join to 402-34770, because we sent him our YouTube link. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm behind that versus Facebook. I'm after growing the YouTube side. So Mike, will you do me a big favor and follow the channel, like this video, and follow the channel as well? So what I'm after people actually following the channel. By the way, that's one of my goals. My goals is to 100,000 followers of Be Growth Driven. Subscribe. Right? But the reason why is because as you get those hits on YouTube, it's going to help you, right? As people are watching it, YouTube saying, hey, this might have some interesting content that we can talk about. Simple as that.
Can I just say the pandemic set everybody up to be a podcaster, because everybody working from home and getting their cameras and microphones and doing Zooms, everybody has a mini studio. So there's no excuse at all, David. You're good to go.
You got no excuses now. You're ready to rock and roll.
You have the equipment.
But no, we'll get that information up. Audrey, can you make a note and go on our Amazon and look at the stuff I just recently bought, and add that to there.
Everything you recently bought? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Actually, I know you should. In the marketing essentials that Buck did, there's an entire list of.
Did he do a list?
Things like the mic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's where I got this from, was based off of that recommendation. There's actually different. There you go. There's different tiers that you could get. If you really want to get a good camera, which ones to get. You guys could definitely
Available.
Look up About Buck on Instagram. He's unbelievable.
So by all means,
add a link to my Instagram. How do I do that? Maybe I can just add them.
So after you go finish this live on Instagram, push it over to Instagram TV, and then you can tag Buck in the comments or in the description.
Okay.
So, guys, sometimes just creating the content, all you need is like 1 or 2 points is what we're talking about. Don, Richard, thank you for jumping on. If you want to join our YouTube live, and we're coming pretty close to in the next probably about 7 minutes, we'll bring things to a wrap. But if you want to join our live, what we're demonstrating is how to do the podcasting and some of the ways that we actually get our guests on here as we're growing it. This is as we build it, you're seeing how we build it.
What's the number again?
What's the number?
Text join to 402.
Come on, they gotta hear you. They gotta
I don't know
hear
the
you.
number, Joel, that's why I'm asking you. Text join 402-347. I'm telling someone right now, actually live on the phone, who we just was with this weekend. 9770. 402-347-9770. Text join to that, and you can see it live. I'm not trying to get Kirk on here. I'm messaging with Kirk.
There you go. Perfect. So we talked about a lot of different things here, and hopefully some of the tips I shared as well, as far as like practical points of your podcast. And if all you have is like one main theme of your podcast, that's fine. What you're gonna find, just have a notepad. If you don't, for those of you that are jumping on the YouTube, I have some notepad real quick where I'm just simply, if David says something that I like, customer journey, I'm going to highlight that. And, he went on for a few seconds there talking about customer journey, and that's fantastic content, because now what I'll do is Jesse's going to go back in at 22 minutes and 7 seconds approximately in the video, and she's going to maybe go grab that little clip, and then she's going to push that onto our Instagram channels and our Facebook channels and our LinkedIn channels. Okay. And we're going to put David on the stage, basically. And so if you look at and go follow our Instagram, you'll see that what we'll do as we interview somebody, we're going to write down key points. And I have a gal that actually goes back through and listens to it again, grabs out more content out of that, grabs a person's, we're going to grab a good picture of David.
Smile, David.
And I got some soup pictures. I got one of the little 10X things.
Oh, you got a little 10Xer going on there?
I got a little 10Xer of one there going on.
Maybe you can, so the greatest gift I was ever given, other than my children and my wife, but my wife got me a bobblehead.
I love it.
Quite amazing, a 10X hat bobblehead. I mean, this thing like really looks like me.
I
can just put it there and talk for me.
Do you think they make one tall enough for me?
Oh, here's my wife. She's listening to me right now too.
Awesome.
Come say hi. Yeah, she don't want to get on camera. This is exactly what this entire thing is about.
She's not tiptoeing into the podcast.
Look at her.
Hi.
You're a rock star. You have an amazing husband.
I do.
Oh, thank you.
Aww.
Not as good as my wife.
That's a good team.
Now she's on a podcast, and she don't even know she's about to be on, YouTube and Facebook. Just saying.
There you go. The two of you could do a husband-wife power couple podcast.
Yes. We need a 10X power couples group. Yeah.
There you go. So.
Something I would wonder that I'd love to hear.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Name?
My name is Kathy Ospina, and I love the thought of teaching people what are the warning signs of those bad contractors, those roofers. I personally wouldn't know if someone is not legitimate. If they tell me, "Hi, we'll come. Hey, jump in here. Hey." So I have no idea how to protect myself. So I love that you're doing that. So that's one thing that came to my mind.
Are you guys looking on the Instagram right now?
Let me check.
Because I can actually show you. I have a board next to me on the wall. You ready?
Wait,
that's exactly what I've been doing.
It's going to catch up.
Oh, is it? Talking about all the ways that, ways to void a warranty, mistakes when hiring a roofer, and choosing repair or re-roof.
Yes.
That is what we've been doing after leaving the workshop. Exactly, I got, 6 ways to void a warranty. Learning all the objections that we deal with on a daily basis, and the biggest concerns and the biggest thievery that happens,
Which day out of the week?
Yeah,
am I going to expect this?
I don't know. I need to get a little setup like this.
Which day would you pick if you had to pick one?
I know. I don't know.
Time and fear were not a concern.
You did not care what mic you had.
Time wasn't a concern. I would probably have it done by the end of the week. But
wait, what day?
Each week.
You know what? Now that we're on here, and this is somewhat of a promotion, I'm definitely about to post an ad. Maybe I don't need to if I find the right person, but I'm looking for a marketing manager to help me execute a lot of these ideas. So something like this, I'd already have the podcast stuff set up. I can come in and do it and still,
You need a Jesse.
Okay.
You need a Jesse.
Yes.
I see a comment company. Yeah. I get a comment company.
We need a Jesse. Yeah, it's difficult just timing wise. I know I need to do it. Is there fear attached to it? Absolutely, but
Hey, Jeff the Entrepreneur, thank you for, look at that. This guy's a rock star, by the way. If you're not following Jeff the Entrepreneur, you need to follow Jeff the Entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, on Clubhouse too.
That's right. Hey, so Okay. Who's the older guy? Who's the older guy talking? Why don't you see? Rudolph asked me. Let's see here, Rudolph.
We got so many sources of media coming in at
Yeah,
once. It's amazing.
I got all kinds of stuff coming in here real quick. He says, "Who's the older guy talking, and why don't I see him?"
Is it my raspy voice? No.
I don't know. Hey, but Jeff the Entrepreneur, real quick, if you're listening, David Bange's going to be kicking off an epic journey of podcasting.
We're on the edge of our seats waiting. When you're ready and have
and those of you on
manager.
Clubhouse, if you're not following David Bange, you need to follow David Bange. Okay. David Bange.
It's Bange.
Bange. I apologize. Bange.
People say our name wrong.
Now that it's going to be out there, this could be an amazing moment.
David Bange, please, forgive me. I've been. What's that?
That's fine, because I actually found out based on your email, or actually your voicemail, that your last name's not Buhr. It's Buhr. Yeah, I've always said it wrong.
Right.
It's okay. Just like you, it doesn't offend us at all.
Right. So Rudolph, okay, now I understand, Rudolph, what you're asking. So the reason why you hear David talking is going through mine and he's not on the Clubhouse stage is because we have this going live on StreamYard as well as YouTube and everywhere else. So
yeah, Instagram, Facebook.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But David, hey, I appreciate it. What I'd like to do live on YouTube. So David, I'm gonna have Jesse actually send you the link so you can fast forward through it or watch it again here too. Guys, I appreciate all of you jumping on. We're gonna bring it. I gotta move on to another episode here real quick. Of
David's got to do some roofing work.
David's got some roofing stuff.
Yeah, I gotta go look at some roofs.
So here's what I'd like to do. David, tell me if you're up for this. Does your schedule, and let me know if it doesn't work with your schedule, does next week, this same time, I want to learn about David Bange Roofing.
I will figure out a way to make it work no matter what. Let's do it.
Okay.
You send me a calendar invite?
You 100%. Actually, Jesse will get you
whatever I have in that slot, I'll figure out a way to reschedule it.
Jesse will actually give you all the information that you need on how to get, we'll get all of your assets and everything else right there. So,
so just for everybody that's watching this late, so that will be 10 a.m. next Monday, Eastern time, which is, what's the date next week?
February. It'll be February already.
Yeah,
February 2nd.
Yeah,
which is actually my father's birthday, which is a fun fact.
Oh.
So that's kind of cool.
So 2 at 10 a.m. 2 at 10 a.m. We're gonna talk and learn about roofing, but really, I think I would imagine our conversation is probably going to go to the side of the customer journey and doing things ethical in business, and why that's so important for businesses today.
And I'd love to figure out a way to open it up. I'm sure people have a lot of great ideas on how we can help these customers, and like you said, with the comments and stuff like that, I don't know if there's a way, maybe even on Clubhouse, we can get some of those, other ideas.
No, 100%, 110%. So, hey, if you're on Clubhouse, I'm actually going to leave this live on Clubhouse as I jump to my, actually join Ken Walls on Breaking Through Walls. So I'm going to leave that on, so you guys are going to hear that as well. You're welcome to stay tuned on that. David, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Joel. I appreciate
it.
Thank you for holding me accountable, everybody.
Hey, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Hey, join us next week as we bring on David Bange from David Bange Roofing, and we're going to talk about business. We appreciate y'all. Be great, because nothing else pays.